magnificent morning for those who are still in morning time. Awesome afternoon where I am right now. And exciting evening where Asma is. We have morning with Victor. We have afternoon with me. And we have evening with these two wonderful ladies. One from India, Shivali's from India, I believe in Delhi. And Asma is in Pakistan and Gujarat, right, Asma?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited. I remembered. And today the panel is all about dealing with a flexible mindset versus a rigid. And to me, I think we need a little of both, but we'll find out. I want to see what you guys have to say about it and we'll discuss it. We had some wonderful conversation on Tuesday about this, and I expect it to be just as awesome as it was on Tuesday. We'll start with the ladies. Always, Victor, I've been taught ladies first. So I'm going to give that away. Let's start with Asma. How are you? Introduce yourself and give me your take on what you think about rigidity and flexibility in mindset.
All right. At first, thank you, and it's very lovely that I'm here after. It's not so long, but I'm very excited. Always being sharing my thoughts with you and with our audience. I'm Asma Tariq. I'm one of the youngest author, and I wrote more than 5 books, and that's my identity. I wrote, and that's amazing. Yes, now today our topic is flexible and rigid mindset. And as Carla said, somehow we need both. Yes, it's very actually, before that I was searching something about that, and I think it's very complex. Somehow this very complex to define a thin line between both stuff. But there are few stuff, there are few lines, there are few steps that can help us to find out which mindset is better and which can help us more. Certainly we as a human, we find something which is productive and which give us something, and when we look at that way, then we think there is another kind of mindset. Honestly, it's there's another thing that is growth mindset. I am more likely favorable for the growth mindset, where you learn the stuff and you upgrade yourself with the time. I don't believe that there is something that you are not that you do have a particular some kind of mindset, rigid and flexible, and you are born with and you have to live with that mindset throughout your life. That's not the case. Actually, our mindset is some kind of a mindset, is a growth. You can develop it by with your learning. There's a simple formula. I just love it, and I throughout my life I just wanna apply this formula in my life. This is learn, unlearn, and relearn. And if we keep focusing on this stuff, these simple 3 things, I think there are lots of things are very easy, and they are gonna settle down. So I just want to say, learn, unlearn, relearn.
I actually like that very much. And we'll come back to that because you do need to unlearn in order to move forward. Shivali, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Shivali from India. I'm a coach, a trainer, and humbly yours, a holistic healer also. And I love this topic because just now it was a demonstration of this. I was trying to kind of link to this show through my laptop. It was not working. So my mind was like, oh no, I want to do it through the laptop itself. And then I quickly changed myself and I said, no, let me log in through my cell phone. People are waiting. I shouldn't make them wait. So that learning and learning took place immediately. So the way I adapted to the situation, I think it shows that our mind needs to be flexible most of the time so that we can move on.
Okay, but what is the difference? Do we need a flexible mindset, or do we need to be also rigid at times? And I'm going to ask Asma that question too. That's what we're discussing. Let me have your feelings on that, Shivali.
See, as far as certain, principles of life are concerned, certain values, like for example, if I strongly believe in integrity of character or being honest and sincere, then come what may in my life, I should be, kind of determined that I will stick to this. So if someone calls it rigidity, that I do not adjust according to the situation, well, if I'm not willing to compromise on certain values, people might see it as someone, like she's not being flexible. But for me, in this case, it's okay to be rigid. That is when you stick to certain values and principles of your life.
Okay. Asma, and I'm sorry, Victor, I want Asma's take on this and then we'll come to you. Asma?
Yeah. Carla, I, as you said, I believe that we need somehow we need some kind of both. We need some kind of stuckness when you want to like achieve your goals. There are lots of things are happening around your surrounding, but you have to be stuck with your goals. You have to be for that you have to be very passionate, then you can. But flexibility is not something that stops you from achieving your dreams, and that are not allowing you to be stuck and to focus on your dreams. Flexibility is something like that, like if you're moving towards some path and you're not seeing some results, you're not finding it productive, it's bad. Rather than following the same path again and again, you can change your path. You can look into the situation and you can make some changing. You can adopt some flexibility. This is called flexibility. Whenever Addison said, like I don't make a mistake, but I find 100 ways of making the bulb. So every time what he did, every time he changed his method, every time he changed his path to make the bulb, and then he find another path. This is flexibility. Like it's like if you're not seeing the result and you're stuck something and you're not getting something, it's better to look into the situation and redirect yourself and learn stuff. It's also like that. You can't be throughout the life you learn something. Like I did masters, I'm a graduate student, and if I feel that I did my graduation, now that's enough for me, and throughout the life I don't need to learn anything, even from the kids from anywhere, because I'm a graduate. I already learned a lot in my 16 years of education. Why I need to learn a lot? This is called rigidity, that you are not ready to accept the reality, that you are not ready to accept the changes. So if you are ready to accept the change, then that's called flexibility. Flexibility is not something that your way of living can be different. But if you're finding something that is not productive, that is giving nothing to you and to the others, let's change the method. Let's adopt something different. Let's relearn something. Like if history is not giving us something, let's change it. That's flexibility. And I think that you always need, even with your goals, with your dreams, you always need that. You always need to rechange and look into this stuff, remanage this stuff.
Very good answer. What do you think, Victor?
I think that in the interest of words, flexibility versus rigidity, when you apply that to mindsets, I believe in a rigid mindset. A mindset can be likened to a background in a picture. If you have a picture, the background is steady and it doesn't change. Now, what the mindset actually does is it allows you to either be a flexible person or a rigid person. As you approach your life and make decisions and go from one choice to the other, your mindset determines whether you are a flexible person or not. So flexibility as a person, as an approach, as the way I live, is certainly desirable. But mindset also is like my world view. If you have a certain place where you live mentally, a certain place, a certain way to think of things, like for instance, a politician's mindset is different from a religious person's mindset, is different from an artist's mindset. If you have a problem and you approach these three different disciplines, they're all going to have different ways of solving the problem, and that's going to be because of their mindset, not necessarily about whether they are rigid or flexible.
But a mindset can be a combination of things. You can decide, oh, I want to teach English, but our goal to get to that goal may need to change, or that's how I see it. Would you agree with that, Victor?
I believe your behavior and your action would change, but I think that your mindset would not, because your mindset is that of a teacher, not of an English teacher or a Spanish teacher. Your mindset is that of a teacher. So, however you want people to learn English, you are approaching it from the standpoint of you being a teacher.
Okay. So the goal can be changed.
Yeah.
And that can be flexible.
Yeah.
But are you saying that the actual mindset needs to be so hardly set or strongly set that you can't think, you can't do any change of behavior?
I think that's one of the reasons we have a mindset. We have so many decisions that we make on a regular basis. If we were to think and consider every option in every situation, we wouldn't even be able to live our life. But what the mindset does is it has a certain combination of thought processes, certain combination of things that you don't have to do. I think in some cases it's called the subconscious mind, but you have this core of ways that you think that actually makes other decisions for you before the time to make the decision turns up.
So let's ask Shivali, how do you feel about what Victor's saying? We're not attacking you. It's just a new way of thinking about it for me.
No, not at all. In fact, I was listening to him very carefully. He mentioned about the subconscious mind, right? So, but when we do these meditations and the various means by which we try to reach our subconscious mind, see, one is the mind at which the external level at which we are operating. As Victor rightly said, that we are operating on a daily basis, and if I have certain perceptions or habits or whatever you want to call them, and I'm acting on the basis of that, okay. Now, when we think of the subconscious mind, then we are going on a very deep level, right? And that time we can understand that whatever I'm doing now, whatever is happening, could be because of certain perceptions in my subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is something which is holding experiences much beyond the present of mind. For example, if I go back to the time I was 5 years old, through my meditation, for example, and I tap into my subconscious mind and I undergo that similar kind of experience. And I know that there is a certain cause behind my present action. And we are always taught that you can change it. You can change it. So, how are we doing it? Through the power of our own mind, we are doing it. So, when I come out of that state, when I have met my subconscious mind, how are we doing it? Through the Yes. So what happens once I can tap, if I knew my means of tapping into my subconscious mind, I could get answers to so many things. I have done it. That why, for example, I was scared of, say, water. For example, people will call it a phobia. It is not simply a phobia. My reaction, it's my mindset that the moment I see water, I want to run away from it. But through the tapping of my subconscious mind, I can go into the deeper realms and understand that why during the childhood, maybe it was some experience of mine, which I don't even recall now, which has made me behave like that in my present time. So subconscious mind is definitely something which is very intriguing. So Victor has rightly pointed out. Yes, the subconscious mind definitely plays a role.
Okay, Asma, what do you think?
Yeah, I think they are saying right, and that's fact too. But I think to understand mindset, we at first need to understand the neuroplasticity, that how our mind works and how that happens, and how they like. There's nothing something. Yes, there we born with some things. We have some values and have some stuff that is with us through our with our childhood and with all that our surroundings, but there is nothing something that can't be stick and that can't change. It's it's your mind when you add something. Yes, with when you practice something and you at the first time it might be you are not getting the results. So in neuroplasticity, the simple explain, if we want to explain how that works, when you first time learn something, there are dots built in your mind, right? A connect a certain dot. When you repeat it, then when you learn again and again, then that dot got connected with the other dots and they make a chain, and this is how it works. So it need practice, yes, because our practice since the childhood makes our attitude, makes our habits, and then we do our response and actions accordingly. That affects. But if we believe on that there nothing can change, then certainly there would not, nothing would change. But you can change the stuff accordingly. And I think there is nothing, Kala, in the past there were people were believing on two kind of mindset, and that was rigid and flexible mindset. But recently we have another kind of mindset, and that's the third kind of mindset, and we're believing that this mindset is more valuable and worthable for the people, and that's benefit kind of mindset, where we believe, where we focus on we and me rather than focusing on I. We are now focusing on we and me. It's kind of win and win process. Like you are not only focusing on your own win and your own growth, you are focusing how we can all growth mutually. That is more valuable. Yeah, Kara.
Very good. What do you think, Victor?
Well, I think there's value in a lot of different places, but I think it's critical that I restate the fact that the mindset is something that's almost engraved in stone. And in point of fact, the mindset relies in the subconscious mind, but whether or not you want to be flexible or rigid, that's a function of the conscious mind. So that when you want to describe your subconscious mind as either flexible or rigid, it might be a difficult thing to assess because so much of what goes on in the subconscious mind is not even known to us.
I disagree with you, which is okay. We don't always have to agree because your mindset, what you decide you want to do, is also very conscious to a certain degree. You changed your mindset from a negative one to a positive one years ago. Was that an easy thing to do?
In theory, it's easy once you accept the fact that it's necessary to do, but in actuality, it was a process that occurred over several periods of time. The mindset that I was in was not serving me. Your mindset will change, but that doesn't mean that it's flexible. I mean, the whole idea of growth, of personal growth, is an improvement in your mindset. But I think it's like a one-way a one-way journey, because once your mindset gets to a certain place, you don't ever take it back. You don't ever go back the opposite direction, because, as I said, the mindset resides in the subconscious mind. But the paradox is your subconscious mind will take its cue from continued input from your conscious mind. So if you continually are looking for a way to feel better, to make your life easier, eventually your mindset is going to change. But I still say that flexibility is not a characteristics that you embrace as far as your mindset goes.
Now, a very small commercial break. I hope everyone has shared this broadcast out on your timelines for the people here and also for the people watching, so people know that we're having this powerful conversation. Hey, Shivali, what do you think? Or are you about to share out?
No, I want to ask Victor, because he's saying he's asking us to look at this from a very different perspective. And I have a question for him. I hope he'll able to help us out in this. Like when you say, Victor, that our subconscious mind is actually being led by what our conscious mind is doing. I hope I got you correct. But what if in the conscious world, so-called conscious world, if the situation changes, then what? Don't we become flexible? Don't we adapt? Don't we unlearn and learn again? Don't we do that? I think we do.
The subconscious mind takes its cue from the conscious mind, but the conscious mind, in order to change what happens in the subconscious mind, it has to be a continued process that I refer to as spaced repetition. One instance or one situation that's introduced to the subconscious mind is not going to change anything. And it's
Yes,
not. Go
I
on.
agree with you, Victor, on this. Yes, yes. Please carry on. Yes.
Yeah. So that the subconscious mind, where the mindset lives, it's going to take all the data that you put in randomly, and it's going to incorporate that into how it sees things already. But as you put more, and if as you put the same data in more and more and more and more, then the subconscious mind is going to change. But again, it's never going to go back to what it was before you started putting in that spaced repetition of data. So rather than describing it as being flexible, I assert that the mindset is always growing. And flexibility, as I look at the word, it implies a back and forth activity, and back and forth activity really doesn't apply to a mindset.
This is wonderfully said. Yes, this gives more clarity. Yes, it's not something that happens in one instant or one thing. It's an ongoing process, definitely. Yes, this I agree. Yes.
What do you think, Asma?
Yeah, I agree. The last thing that Victor said, and that's very important about the repetition, and that's the term I use, neuroplasticity. That's what, like, there nothing happened at once. And the other thing is that we can't categorize someone fixed mindset and flexible mindset. This is something, a characteristics that are ongoing process. Somehow a person is in a fixed state. Somehow a person is in a flexible state. It's a goal. The mind is always in a growing state. It's just a state. Like you can't be, we like nowadays we categorize the people in good, in positive and negative. We all somehow live in a negative state. We all somehow live in a positive state. These all are the states. But how you take that state and how you respond and how you, that matters. And there the growth comes. Like there are a lot of things happen. It's just a process, and that process goes on throughout the life. Through, I don't think that some person throughout his life be a very optimistic, positive, and flexible. somehow in his life that person also gone through some part of life, some stage of life where some negative stuff comes in his mind, where he get rigid, where he don't want to be like he don't want to work, he don't want, then he work and he change his state. And this is the process. For that we need regular reminders. We as a human need a reminder, where you have healthy reminders, where in your life, in your surrounding and by your own self, there you are in continuous state of growth. But somehow if your reminders get mute, think again get stumble for you, and you have to work again. So this is how human works and human mind. It's just a process. I don't think we need to categorize the people in one state and the other state. It's just a process through which we all go through.
Okay, you're calling it a process. And in calling it a process, how do we help ourselves? Like, I needed to change my mindset, and I began this program. That was the reason that MindPlore came into existence. I wanted a more positive mindset. In doing that, I see changes in my life. So if you're saying it is a process, I agree. But it's also a process that we work at. Do you agree with that or no? And why?
Exactly, that's a process. And we all, Kala is not something that God created all the humans with all kind of characteristics and all this stuff. Through you are born with that, God has born you with that mindset that you want positivity and you want that stuff. It's the only thing that human don't do. They don't open their arm. You open your arms to the nature that I want this stuff. I want to change the things. You are opening your arms. This is one thing that we say, don't close your arms. Like, don't lose your hope. Where the one thing that we are, don't lose your hopes that nothing is gonna happen. When you believe that, start believing that nothing is gonna happen, then might be things are not gonna change. But when you keep your arms open and believe that all these little things are for the good, that happens. And there's nothing like something through with our birth we have that characteristics. Human have positivity, human have negativity, all that stuff is with the throughout the childhood. Yeah, somehow the environment affects, but there is a one instinct there we call the human instincts. And the more you believe in that, the more you believe, follow the human instinct and human nature, then nothing can stop you, and everything would change. Like, then you can't, then you don't need to bound yourself in the theories and in some kind of hypothesis like this would happen. But when I think there are lots of theories, but just don't bound yourself with all that. Just keep your arm open and let nature do their work.
What do you think, Victor? I see you beginning to nod your head. I'm here. Just keep talking. I need to pick up.
I am the arbiter of analogy.
I can't hear you, Victor.
We are speaking.
Yes.
We are speaking, and my mic is open. Can you hear me?
Can anyone else hear Victor?
Yes. All of us can hear.
Okay, it may be my connection. Keep on going, Victor, and I work this out.
I employ the use of analogies quite often because I always think that I want to show somebody something. In terms of flexible mindset, let's look at it this way. The mindset could be, I'm a good athlete. Okay. If I'm a good athlete, I'm never going to vary away from that because I'm a good athlete. Depending on whether I'm playing football or baseball or basketball or any other athletic event, I might be a better pitcher than I am a hitter. I might be a better passer. In those arenas, I can be flexible as a football player or a basketball player or a track star or anything like that. Those I can be flexible in. But in terms of being a good athlete, that's my mindset. I am a good athlete, and that is engraved in stone. Which, by the way, I'm not a good athlete. I'm just using an analogy. But if a good athlete is a way to describe the mindset. And if you are a good athlete, you don't need to be or want to be flexible in terms of being a good athlete or not. So when we talk about flexibility and rigidity, we are talking about aspects of who a person is, but when we're talking about mindset, we are talking about where that person lives, where they live, where they operate from all the time. If a picture has a dark background, no matter what else is in the picture, the background is going to be dark. I don't want to appear that I'm rigid in this idea, but I'm committed to the fact that the mindset needs to be rigid.
I think, Victor, this is what you are mentioning when you mentioned about that teacher. The teacher, like the mindset of a teacher, it remains the same. The mindset remains the same, though that teacher could be operating in various situations, but the mindset remains the same. This is what you're trying to say?
Yes. A teacher is going to be a teacher. They may teach math, they may teach English, they may teach with a book, they may teach with a video, they may teach students, they may teach adults, they may teach children, but at the end of the day, they're a teacher and they operate from a teacher's mindset.
That means the intrinsic person doesn't change, really. This is what I'm getting. That the person. Yes. Yes, Victor. Yes.
Yeah, that's what a mindset is, intrinsic. And it changes, but it only changes in one direction. It never goes back. And flexibility implies back and forth.
Great. So if we're saying back and forth, there are times we can be flexible in what we do. Like I used to teach learning disabled kids, and now I'm working with adults and kids. I'm doing it online instead of physically in person. And all of this is changing how I handle everything I do. You said yes, Victor. Do you want to add more to it? And if in the audience you have some questions, please put them in the chat and I will share them with the panel.
Oh no, I was simply agreeing with the fact that you're a teacher, because in the discussion that we're having, a teacher is the mindset. And you're never going to be not a teacher. You're never going to be what you were before you were a teacher, because that's your mindset. And flexibility implies that being what you were is on the table, and I don't think it is.
Victor, I have a question. Can I ask, Carla?
Yeah. That's the purpose of the panel.
Yes. Victor, because this is very interesting. I have a question here. Like, for example, myself. Okay. No matter how much qualification I have, my experience of life, somehow people say that I behave always like a learner. No. So do you mean to say that is my mindset? The consciousness of mine that I want to be a learner. I always want to be in quest for knowledge. I don't want to behave as if I know everything. I'm always in the quest. I'm very curious by nature. So I'm giving my own example. So this shows my mindset.
Absolutely. Whatever else that you're doing, you're looking to learn something in every interaction. Your mindset is that of a learner. You have said it yourself.
Yes, that's what. I got this clarity just now while you were speaking.
And you're not flexible in that.
So if I were to become flexible, then what analogy would you give? Supposing in this situation of mine, that I'm very curious by nature, I'm always seeking out for new things, etc. So if you said, now Shivali, you are not being flexible, but in this case, you had to show flexibility, then what would it be?
Oh, you being flexible and your mindset being flexible is two different things. Even though you are being flexible, you're still a learner. That's where you live.
Okay, that's interesting.
Ah.
Now, do you agree with him, Shivali, or no?
Now I am going to think about it. He's kept me thinking now, and I'm thinking. Let me first get the answer myself, and definitely I want to go on with this. Yes, thank you so much. This is what. So my mindset is like that. I'm very open. I am not like Carla says. It's okay, Shivali. He may not be saying what you want to say. No. So here I see flexibility, Victor, doesn't it? That in spite of I may be having a particular perspective. So what he's trying to say, but your mindset has not changed. Your perspective, your flexibility are different aspects. This is what I'm understanding at this moment.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. That's the clarity I'm getting. Okay.
What do you think, Asma? And we can go back to Victor. I want your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that Victor is playing with the words very wonderfully. It's it's very amazing. He's that yes, okay, let's leave this flexibility. Yes, he used the physics. Then its flexibility is actually, I think flexibility is not something, it's actually growth. Let's talk about growth mindset and fixed mindset, and that's what Shivali is saying, that I am actually thinking, I'm opening, I let my mind to get open and think what Victor is saying, although his perspective is different, very different, but I let my mind to get think about that. That's freedom that you are giving your mind, and that's called growth. That's called growth kind of mindset. That is what, if you are letting like freedom, you're not the only thing is, I think this would be might be the right words, because we have lots of words and throughout our life we just play with the words. So let's get it easily. Limitation and freedom. When you limit your mind, like when you bound yourself in some kind of limitation, that you only can learn this stuff, that you are only able to achieve that, you are actually limiting yourself. And when you are limiting yourself, then there are less chances of growth, because you are already pushing yourself down. But it's important, and that you can, when you're letting yourself and when you're giving yourself freedom, and you can give yourself freedom at any situation, at any state. If you have that freedom, certainly situation doesn't change for every person at once. Like if you're living in a family where everyone is well aware, and then I don't think you have a lot of problems, because you already have awareness. But if you are living in that circumstances and that environment and that family where no one is aware, and you're just trying to raise the awareness, your circumstances would be different. But you are letting the freedom. There are two situations at once you have. The first situation is that you are all ready to follow them. You are ready to follow them that they are doing. The other situation is that you are letting yourself to get some change. You are letting yourself, let's do something different. Actually, you are giving the freedom. There you are giving freedom. So this is very important. Give your mind, give yourself a freedom for the change, for the growth. Don't limit yourself. Don't think about flexibility and all that stuff. Just don't limit yourself in some situations, in some stuff, and in all that. When you are limiting yourself, then certainly growth is impossible. So you have to give freedom in all these situations. And this is the freedom that make all the changes.
And I agree with you on that. Victor, what do you think?
I think certainly freedom is desirable and freedom is attainable, and I think everyone has it. There is a book that was written some time ago by a guy named Viktor Frankl, and one of the things that he says is that no one can make you think something that you don't want to think, which clearly indicates that you have the freedom to think what you want. And in terms of of equating flexibility and freedom, I think that's an analogy that bears some pondering. But going back to the thought that the Chevalier, is it?
Yes.
Is it
Yes.
okay? Okay.
Chevalier.
You identified your mindset as that of a learner, and after I said what I did, when Carla asked you about what I said, you said that you would have to consider, have to think about it. That further brands you as a learner, because even in this situation, you're trying to learn, right? That makes sense. So your mindset, I think, unequivocally is that of a learner, and it's not flexible, and it doesn't need to be. And it does provide you the freedom to learn more and the freedom to grow, because every time you learn something, you grow a little bit. You see that analogy where people say that the mind is like a rubber band. Once you stretch it, it never goes back to its original size. You've heard that before? Well, an inability to go back to the original size is another definition of flexibility, because if you can't go back and forth, then it's not really flexibility, is it?
Okay.
Like, you can talk about my journey, which I spoke about. I started working with very young children. I was kind of forced into that situation. And then I got my substitute certification, and I was going and I was teaching children of all different mentalities until I finally decided, oh, I want to work with learning disabled children. But the mindset of becoming a teacher never changed. It didn't change when I started the English show, but how I delivered that material changed tremendously throughout the years. Asma, let's get you back into the conversation.
Yeah, it's been very interesting. And yes, like side by side, I just, with the pastor, I'm learning one thing, that there is not a one rule, and you can't like fix all the thing in that one rule, that everything is, that this rule is the only one to apply on the human nature and human, and this is only giving the result. There is a lot of opening. This is the opening space. There are lots of things are going on and lots happening. Yes, when Victory said that we don't have, somehow people don't want to be learned. Some at there are many states where people don't want to even learn. The thing is that their circumstance. That's why Victor teachers are born. That's why mentors are created. That's why messengers are sent by the God, because people, we human always need reminders. We human always need guidance. That's why we have books. You can't do anything. You can't say that you are just born and now your brain is enough and you can make all the things by yourself. This is not gonna happen. You always need this material. You always need guidance. You always need some support. And for that, you need mentors. For that, you search, and then you get. Somehow at some states, at some part of the world where people have, they get it. Some part of the state that people don't have, then it's your responsibility by the guard to share the awareness, to give them the awareness, because they don't have the awareness. And when they have the awareness, certainly they work on themselves and they start thinking, and the growth would be possible. But if for that, certainly we all need guidance. And I think this is what sharing, where the sharing comes. If you have that, share it with others. If you have that, because at some part people don't have even the basic awareness, and that's all about these different states. That's all about, and that's why we human are created, to support each other, to share the knowledge with each other.
When you say knowledge, what do you mean?
I feel knowledge, for me, knowledge is the basic awareness. I don't feel like most of the people have the potential. The only problem is that they don't know how to use that potential. They don't know what to do with that stuff. There come the awareness. There they just need somehow of basic awareness that how to do that. And if they get their awareness, then they know how to use. Like you have the basic, you want to teach the people throughout the world, but you need to learn the tech. You need to learn the technology. You need to know how to connect with the people. This is the basic awareness. And when you get that, you connect with the people, and now you are spreading your knowledge throughout the world. Now you are teaching the students English throughout the world. This is the basic kind of awareness that varies throughout the world, certainly, and that certainly matters.
Okay.
But Victor will, I'm sure, will say that, but her mindset is that of a teacher. Doesn't matter what she's doing at which stage. If I get it right, and this is something very interesting, that like the mindset is still of that of the teacher.
What do you think, Victor? Are they getting correctly or no?
Absolutely. And let me point out that there are people who teach that do not have a teaching mindset. There are people who are good athletes that don't have the good athlete mindset. So while your mindset might be your overall description of who you are, there are other things that you can do. And it doesn't have to be your mindset. Like, for instance, my mindset is not that of a learner. I cannot say, unless it's very deep in my subconscious mind, I can't say that I approach things in an attitude of wanting to learn all the time. But sometimes I do learn. My mindset is more that of wanting to teach, not as a professional teacher, but to enlighten people. And Carla has known this about me forever. I am about enlightening people to the power of that subconscious mind. So everything I do is point in that direction. So to culminate the last minute or so of speaking, just because Carla's mindset is a teacher doesn't mean that teaching is that she is limited to only teaching and not other aspects of life. Just because Shivali's mindset is a learner doesn't mean that she is limited to only being a learner. There are other characteristics and other components that you can explore that contribute ultimately to the mindset that you have, or where your subconscious mind spends most of your time. Many people say that the life that we live, that the things that happen to us, that our life is being run by our subconscious mind. And if our life is being run by our subconscious mind, that once again gives the impression that the mindset needs to be rigid. And whether it needs to be rigid or not, it is, because we don't approach our mindset second by second by second. It's just something that's always like the background of that photo.
Shivali, you look like you have something to say.
No, I understand what he's trying to say. That that point that he mentioned, that a person could be a teacher and yet not have the mindset of a teacher.
Right.
This is what he mentioned. So, Victor, sometimes I say a certain thing. So, does it mean the same thing? I have often mentioned this to many people, that, okay, that person could be a teacher, but not a successful teacher, because he actually doesn't know the role of a teacher. He's doing it because he's supposed to do, or he's somehow chosen that profession, or he's doing it by fluke, or whatever. He's just had some qualification. But as a teacher, the mindset is not there. So this is what I think you said just now.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is, yes, this I agree with this also, because yes, successful, unsuccessful teachers, because the mindset is not that of a teacher, and yet that person could be professing to be a teacher or doing teaching or whatever. Okay.
Okay, Asma, join the conversation.
Yeah, actually the discussion's gonna be very, very intellectual and very philosophical. I wanted to keep it simple, but Victor make it very philosophical and very intellectual. That's good thing. That's a good stuff. And he actually he played with that's amazing. I think that's teacher, and that's that. Yeah, that's exactly. And they'll come, as Shivali saying, successful and unsuccessful teacher, and I think there comes the stuff knowing yourself, what you are, what there are lots of things are honestly there. We can't categorize one thing and define all the stuff in that just one definition. That's not possible. This life is very, like, it's very complicated, and it's also very simple. It's up to you how you want to define. It's up to you how you want to take it, and sometimes it's not up to you. So it's just a situation. I feel it's a beautiful process. Life is, honestly, for me, it's all that things is just a process where all the things, where different things happen, where different thing goes on. Yes, the only thing that I can, and if you are aware, if you are self-aware, and if you know yourself somehow, the only thing that I want to say, let your arm opens, give yourself a little kind of freedom. Don't limit yourself. This is the only thing that I want to say. Somehow might be you have to limit yourself. Like if you want, right now I'm working on a project, there I have to limit myself only to creativity, only to the writing stuff. I can't now interfere in the other things. I have to. So they're different things. You need to know how stuff is working for you, what you want in life, the most important thing, what you want in your life. If you are very happy even with your two kids and doing nothing, it's up to you. If you're enjoying that life, go ahead, enjoy your life. If you want to achieve and you want to go to the moon, like Elon Musk, and you are just trying all your efforts to do that, then do that. They're different perspectives. We all have different lives. It's up to you how you want to live the life, what you want in your life. And if you know that what you want in your life, then you take your life that way. I just want to say, so live your life and let others live them their life.
Yes, Asma, I definitely agree with this, that it's an ongoing process, number one. And as and it's a dynamic situation. It is never fixed as such. Each and every moment we are learning so many things. That is what you started. That was the contention with which you started initially, that, the learning and the unlearning and the growth. Yes, 100%. Like what I was, say 10 years ago and what I am today, there is a lot of change from internal self itself. It's not about the external. It's about how your inner being, the inner core is changing.
Yeah.
Or maybe you are coming in touch with your inner true self also, your authentic self, as I would like to call it. But that again is a process. It doesn't just happen in one single moment, or it could be a series or whatever, a series of events or situations. But only when you look at it from a retrospective, viewpoint, then you realize that how far you have come in this journey. So yes, this is certainly there, and we
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The last thing I just want to say, that all these theories and all these are made by some successful or some by mentors, because they follow a path and then they find some stuff and then they wrote the books and they wrote something and they make them theories. And now they are allowing people to follow that if they want to be successful. Might your way different? Might if you want to be that successful, if you want that kind of success, then you need to follow that path that they already given you, and you will be successful. If you don't want that, and if you're already contented, okay, it's 4-5, because all these intellectual people, all that we want the world to be progress, but it's very important that world wants that. It's very important that people want that success. We need to ask them too. And if they want that, yes, they have to follow that. And if they don't want, then that's up to them.
Victor?
In finality, this mindset thing, I thought of another analogy. We all know what a car is, but the steering wheel in that car, it's immovable. It's going to drive that car and move it in whatever direction. Whatever else you do with the car, whoever else is in the car. You can change the seats, you can change the interior, but that steering wheel, That's the mindset. That's symbolic of the mindset. And it's not going to move. And it
So the
doesn't need
mind,
to.
so the mind is the driver.
Yes, absolutely.
So the mind is the driver. That reminds me of something else, maybe in another session we can do that within this body, within this, because I try to make the soul connection always, that within this physical body is an astral body. And then what is it which is driving this body forward? Is it my mind, the mind, the driver? That's another question to be answered.
What do you think, Asma?
I think there is nothing to be say, but I think that's amazing. That's true. That what Carla, what Victor is saying, and that's exactly like that. Somehow that's human. I would say you are born with certain characteristics. Human are born. That's a particular thing that you are created with that. Now, where you wanna take that, where you wanna go, that's up to you. Where that's how what you want and how you want that, that's certainly up to you, and somehow on the circumstances too. But if you have the awareness, if you have that power, and then certainly you can take it where you want to. So steering is there, but you can change. You can take your car where you want to go. If you want to go take, if you want a long drive, you can do that. If you want to go some short drive, that you can do. So it's dependable. It's dependable. You don't need to characterize this stuff in one way. Just like go with the stuff, and let's learn, unlearn, and relearn.
And what are we unlearning and relearning?
Actually, that's very important. Somehow we born with some kind of ideology, and we believe that this ideology is the only ideology to live the life. But with the passage of time, when you explore and when you meet with the people, when you connect with the people, you find out that there are other ideologies, and the other ideologies might be better than the old ideology. You can change that. You can unlearn your old ideology, which is right now not giving you something. It's useless. It's not productive. So you can change that. You can learn some other stuff. You can adopt new lifestyle. You can adopt new changes, and you can again. If you forget that stuff, if you find that you need to relearn that things, you can again learn that. It's a process.
Okay, Victor, we're going into last thoughts now. What are your last thoughts, Victor?
Oh, I thought I'd give my last thoughts already. So I'll reiterate the fact that the steering wheel of the car is like the mindset, and it needs to be rigid, because once you start moving, you want to maintain control of which direction that you're going in, and that's how your mindset is. Unfortunately, we don't always have the control of our mindset that we want, because it resides in our subconscious mind. But you don't need it to be all over the place. You need it to be one place.
Okay, what do you think, Shivali?
Well, looking at the modern world and the global situation, that we see, if mindset is just, in a very simple level, a sense of perception, some, values or perception, I think it's time we changed it. We changed it because if we are on the global platform, I think each one of us has to come forward, undergoing the learning. And we do that learning only through connection. Like today, when I'm on this panel and Victor is there, you see, Victor, I have come in touch with him, or I've come in touch with Asma. So whatever they are saying, they are giving a new perspective to things. And this is exactly what the learning process is all about. And this is what learning is all about. So, I feel that yes, in certain times, and especially in present times, or should I say the last 5 years or so, we have to look at what is our destination towards which this global platform is moving. And for that, we really need to connect with each other. And for that, a lot of unlearning has to be done. We have to go beyond our mindset, whether it's flexible or inflexible. that Victor can explain it better. But I think it's time to unlearn a lot of things if you want to move forward as a global family. Thank you.
I agree. Asma?
I just want to say, keep smiling.
And actually, that's the most important thing. Because if you smile, that allows you to open up your mind. And when your mind is open, then you can move forward with the goals you want to accomplish. Very good thought, Asma. Well, we have discussed rigidity versus flexibility in mindset and in our thinking. And I think it's been very powerful. I want to thank Asma and Shivali and Victor for being here today and having such a wonderful conversation. And I want to thank those who watched. It was a great show. Does anyone want to add any thoughts before I end the show? Okay, then I am going to go off air. We'll see you next Tuesday for MindPlore with Carla and Friends.